Hello everyone! If I make this a second channel video, what are we doing here? We're working on the video for Splatoon 4 about Tacticooler and how it would be reworked. This is the basic intro. You get to see the little script process. But we have 5 ideas here, and here's the, some of the inspiration we got. I don't know if this is all the screenshots I think I'm missing one person's. But I got, I asked for a bit of ideas from Blue Sky. We have 5 main cooler rework ideas. We got one player can change their special to a cooler before every match, guaranteeing one cooler will be present in the lobby. Individual cooler gauge. That's not spelled properly. Gauge. Every player can get an individual cooler through some alternative mechanic. Cooler is a team special meter, something the entire team has to build towards and get and use. 4, cooler is activated upon popping your own special. So when you pop your special, you also get a cooler effect. And 5, a ultra signal or objective cooler. So I guess cooler would just spawn based around the objective. We're going to go through, we're going to try to get the positives and negatives of each one and then try to flesh out the concepts a little bit. I don't know how far we're going to get today, but we're going to get to it. We're going to get to it today. So let's start with the negative about this one right away. Here's an obvious one. How? How do you pick? Especially in solo queue. This is the biggest problem with this concept right away. How on earth are you going to have someone know to pick the cooler every game? That sounds like a design nightmare. Positives. Cooler every match is easy to have. No limitations on cooler weapons. Something like that. Just get the basics down is the plan, though. Individual cooler gauge. Downside, we now have 8 special meters. Too many. Yeah, I guess that's another problem. People could pick the wrong one, but like, whatever. Now have individual special meters, too many. Weapons with weaker special output get less cooler. Which, while we're at it, this is the same problem right here. We have this exact same issue right here as well. If cooler is activated upon popping your own special, then weapons that can get more specials get more cooler. So Aerospray gets like 14 Tacticoolers, and Range Blaster gets like 3. Right? That's a problem. What is it? Cooler is a team special meter. This one's like balanced output. It for lower paint weapons. How do you deploy it? Where do you deploy it? Because you could just say like, okay, you don't need to do the cooler stand. It could just chain to people, but then you can't stop it. Which maybe we could live with that. Do we want cooler to come back? I think yes. We're running with that for this concept. Signal-based objective cooler has a good spawn point and counterplay system. How do you keep the output varied? How do we prevent snowballing? Simplest. This one is simplest to do. Easy to understand. What's the positive of an individual cooler gauge? I'm not sure. I'm not claiming cooler's a necessity. I'm claiming it has a positive impact on the game. So can we make it better and a different thing in a future game? Odd specials with cooldown like Jumper Missile work? I mean, it'd just be a downside. Yeah, I've gone through all the Blue Sky replies. I've picked out just a few. Oh yeah, here's another downside for this one, because this one is looking a little unfortunate right now. How does it spawn? What other specials do you want to return in Splatoon 4? Did a video on it. Look up 10 specials for Splatoon 4, or what if Splatoon 3 only had 10 specials or something. I mean, all of these have weapon kit freedom. In fact, we can get rid of this limitation on cooler weapons. Like, the whole point is it's not attached to a kit anymore regardless for this. None of these are going to have cooler stay as a traditional special. In fact, I think this one has another downside. Someone has to be a cooler... Someone has to be a cooler bot. Okay, let me... This is like... I need space between the points. There we go. Just like slightly better organization. Is the weakness of low special output weapons getting less cooler a bad weakness? Weapons with high special output tend to be weaker cooler buff users' IMO. It's a problem because cooler right now enables a lot of fighting weapons, but if cooler is something these fighting weapons barely ever get, then it doesn't really enable them. At some point, you now just have an arrow spray with built-in special saver and mobility that's harder to kill. They don't have to run in with it. So it would be a big problem. Cooler's charge method could be different from special charge. Yeah, that's this. That's individual cooler gauge. That's on here. My issue with this one is this. But yeah, I'll put that as a positive, I guess. Can balance output differently for weaker painters. That's a positive. My problem with individual cooler gauge is, do I really want players to have to worry about having 2 fucking special gauges? Comeback won't work as a spiritual successor. I don't want it to be a gear ability. I saw ideas around that, but I think it just passes the problem to the gear. We already have too many essential gear perks. If cooler becomes a gear perk, we're just gonna have less. I mean, it wouldn't even be its own special, just be your cooler gauge is full, activate your cooler buff as an individual. Personally, this is my favorite one so far. I do like this one too, but we have to figure out a way to balance the output in a way that makes sense, or this one won't work. Also, I should say, not all these ideas need to make it into the video. In fact, 3 is probably the max I would do. We are probably going to cut 1 or 2 of these out. And I'm kind of just trying to see if there's any that are worth like cutting out before I go too in detail on each one. The answer to that might be yes. No, like, set amount per match. None of that. Yo, happy birthday. Thank you. So, I mean, okay. Let's work on the problem with 2 and 4 right now. Let's start with this, right? Because this is clearly important for one of the concepts we're going to keep. Okay? How do we balance cooler output on an individual player basis? Three and 5 can be combined. They can, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that. I'm reading up on what you guys are saying. Give me a bit. No, a set number of cooler usage per game would not be a good idea. I don't like any mechanic that's, hey, you get this amount of things and then it's locked for the rest of the game. It won't function properly. Especially in, like, a solo queue setting. Like, how pissed would you be if someone used a cooler at a wrong time and now you have one less cooler charge throughout your entire game? Like, not only is it fucked up then, but then in your last 10 seconds, you straight up don't have any other possibility of getting a cooler. Like, it would feel miserable. Team-wide cooldown if one person pops to the other person's cooler, charge speed is sped up. I don't think that would work either. Having it based on kills could work for an individual base, but then we have 2 special meters. So I'll put that there. Kills, assists, make it another meter entirely. Early and bias different weapons. And to be clear, I don't mind that this biases some weapons. It's gonna happen. Based on checkpoints? Don't think so. Cooler objective based? We'll get there. It's right here, Rick. We'll get to that when we get there. We're not on this one yet. We're on this part. We'll get to them in a second. I did not mean to be suggesting. Thank you. That shouldn't affect cooler meter. Okay, I do like that idea. Dying doesn't affect cooler meter. I think that's fair. I don't want the meter to be charged off of being alive. That encourages the wrong kind of gameplay. You don't want to disincentivize dying too much. Dying is already really bad. The worse you make it, the more passive people will play. Yeah, no, with the individual coolers, these are not a chain thing. They just, like, have some kind of activation thing. They're individual. There's no stand. 1, 3, and 5 has some kind of stand, something to grab. These 2 don't. These are individual coolers. I don't think a global respawn reduction is a good idea for this. Or at least it's a different idea. We're going over... Hold on. We're just going over concepts for reworking cooler so that it is not a traditional special. Make it based off team pay. That's this one. That's this one. Zuka player could get 3 kills. That's another one, fair one to put. Special kills probably shouldn't count. Okay, I feel stuck here. Let's move to a different one for a bit. Let's focus on this one. One player can change their specialty each match. Because this only has one problem. This is probably the easiest rework to do because it's basically just how Cooler is right now. The only difference is it's a player that gets it. So the only problem we have to do is how do we determine who gets it? Also, output could be balanced around every weapon having a set Cooler points for special. Very easy. Yeah, one player gets assigned to be the Cooler guy. Can be locked to certain weapons. No, the whole point is that any weapon can do it. Like, let's say you are on a team and you have 4 range blasters. Someone still needs to be the Cooler guy. So it can't be locked from any weapons with the system. So it's how do we easily and effectively pick a Cooler player without stalling the game? It could be RNG. It could be, but that would be terrible to deal with. I don't want to deal with random. Random is not the right answer for sure. I very much want to avoid random being the right answer. One player can be a hero. Okay, but how do you choose who gets it? Weapons with the most range gets prioritized. Do you want the Splat Charger to be a Cooler over the Zap? Okay, what if 2 players both want to be the Cooler guy? Let's say we load up, we're a team of 4, and then 2 people want to be the Cooler person. How do we determine who gets them? We could work around the paint system. We could just make it that the highest painting weapon gets a Cooler. That's an idea. Here's my problem. What if 2 people are on the same weapon? Let's say there's 2 arrow sprays in the lobby. Which arrow spray gets Cooler? Also, this is not a positive point, let's see. Let's get that. You could queue as a Cooler for solo. Okay, I like that idea, but let's say some range blaster player queues as a Cooler guy, and I get on their team. I don't want to play with that. How do I avoid that? Also, yes, anything close to roll queue should be avoided. We are not looking to add anything resembling roll queue. This also shouldn't take a lot of time. A voting system sounds okay as well. I think a voting system sounds like the best thing right now. So we'll put that down. 10 seconds. Vote on a player. Vote on a player to be Cooler. Okay, but how do we solve ties? What if there's even voting? Oh, even if it's not a team of 4, you can have even votes. Let's say we have a team of 5. 2 people vote for person A, 2 people vote for person B, and 1 person votes for person C. Then it's still a tie. Whoever enters the lobby first gets it. That's just random. That's another form of random. The other team votes. Yeah, that doesn't go well. I'm sure the player on the other team will vote in the best interest of the team they're about to fight. No, they won't. Highest level player. How do you determine that? What if the highest level player isn't a cooler player? You can't prevent a tie with voting. You need a solution for ties. If we can't come up with one, then voting doesn't work. Ties are an inevitability right now. Now we could merge these two. Have it be a vote, and if it's tied, it's based on paint output. But again, what if we just have the same weapon? What if the vote is on two separate Aerospray players who are tied? Then what do you do? At that point, do you let the game randomize it? So we could do both, so it's 10 seconds, vote. Tie decided by paint output. What if it's tied? Paint output. If both are tied, same weapon, random. Now we have a very convoluted system to pick a player. Everyone puts their votes in and you pick from the vote randomly. That's still random. No random. Or at least like as little random as possible, because we have it here. But like at least in this case, random is a super improbable situation that will almost never come up. I mean, more votes, higher chance, but like it's 4 votes. It's not like there's going to be a huge majority. There's 4. Yeah, this entire scenario is annoying for new players. Which will be a point against it. Bad for new players. If it wasn't obvious already. Can have it be only X rank, but then you just further convoluting or restricting the mechanic. Alright. We've successfully hurt 3 of our 5 ideas so far. We're off to a great start. Aren't we? Alright. Actually, I don't want that to disappear from my list because it breaks my list order. Let's move to 3 and 5. Here's our next set of ideas. We're going to drop down to these 2. Let's just move them down for a second. I'll put like a little line barrier. We're focusing down here. Let's go to these. Cooler is a team-based special and a signal-based objective special. Okay, here's some good news. We don't have to deal with any of the previous problems. Cooler costs, let's say, 500 points of team paint. Or 600. What? Costs like 500, 600-ish paint on the whole team to get. Yeah. Solved output. This is very easy, right? That's fine. Just everyone paints. Painting comps will be able to buy us to get more cooler still, of course. If you have like 4 Aerosprays, you'll get way more cooler. But then you're going to have 4 Aerosprays when you try to take advantage of the cooler. So this encourages a balanced comp building. That works. You can very easily set it to a certain points for special. And in fact, you could even balance the points for special for it. The devs could increase or decrease it over time. Awesome. That works very well. Okay. It also solves some visual clutter. You just need one, you know, some global team meter on the top left corner or something. But now here's a new problem. Where does the how do we get the cooler effects? Now there is a simple way to do it. There is a simple way. Simple method. Everyone automatically gets chained to cooler as soon as it's charged. Maybe have it take a few seconds. Like armor. Here's the downside. No forced group up. No control over when you get it. Less counterplay. So this works. Unlike our previous concepts, this fully works. This is now a complete, idea. And the good news is that it being simple isn't a bad thing. Like, hey, you just build it and then it activates and it's there. It requires practically no input from the players, so it's super beginner friendly. They don't even have to do anything. They just get the buffs, and they play the game with the buffs. How would it interact with dead players when it pops? When you get it on respawn? Good question. I'd say yes. If you're dead, you get it on respawn. Also, another nice part, global timer. You can still be punished for being dead when it activates because it'll eat into your timer. So it's a global timer. Let's say you get, say, 15 seconds, right? Let's say you build Cooler and it activates, and then it's active for 15 seconds. If you're dead, you're losing out on 15 seconds of that duration, even if you don't lose your effect. That feels pretty fair. Quick jump-ins, though? Yeah, but people are going to do that anyway. We already deal with that. People jump around all the fucking time. This ain't going to be new. That's a very livable problem. Can we get a version with a stand? Or a way to grab it? Spawn it in mid. Okay. Let's go with spawn it in mid. Let's say your cooler is charged and you pop it and the cooler spawns in the middle of the map. However, your team is currently being spawn camped. How the fuck do you get over there? Now you can't get it. And this is the problem that a positionally spawned cooler would need to solve. How do we put it in a reasonable position for the team that needs it? How do we decide where it goes? Spawn camp to cooler spawns in the base? Okay, how does the game know? Middle of the players? What if your players are super spread out? What if we have big stages and people are all the way across the map? How do we weight that? Like, if I have a ink brush team, my ink brush is going to be in Narnia. And because the ink brush is in Narnia, my cooler is going to spawn, like, super far away? That feels like an unfair downside. Percent of paint on the map? What if the enemy team strategically leaves a bunch of paint in their own base? I mean, I think if it's a team special meter, the paint should matter for outputting it. I don't have a problem with that. A team-based special should not require you to go to a physical location to get the benefits of it. So are we saying the answer to this is no? Because this could be the answer. The answer might just be no. What's the question? This part. Maybe have everyone hold the left stick to charge and pop it? No. What if someone just doesn't know how to do that? What if you're in a level 1 lobby? What if someone just forgot? What if they're too busy to press the stick? Can't punish you. The player chosen gets to grab cooler. I don't want to have the voting system if it's not necessary. That's a 10-second delay at best on every single match you're going to play. That will add up to a game this fast. Okay, here's a different idea. What if getting a cooler effect locks you in place? Think grabbing a signal, but very different animation. Instead of auto getting the cooler, you press left stick. To start the animation and have a set amount of time, let's say 10 seconds, to get the buff after it's charged before the meter resets. Yeah, you know the ultra signal grabbing animation, right? Let's say you have to stand still for a second. Let's say it's a 1-second animation. So my team charges a cooler, and I can press left stick. When I press left stick, my character stands and, like, maybe they raise their arms up or have some kind of animation. I don't know. And then during that animation, the cooler effect starts applying, and then after 1 second, I can move again and I have the effect. But if I die before that, then I don't get the cooler. What if it appears in zone? Unusable if you're locked out. What if they're pre-made deposits? I like that idea. Preset positions. But how do you determine which one? Because we still have the same problem. We have spawn positions, that could be useful, but how do we know which one it's supposed to be? Pick up at any. I like that idea. All of them's an interesting answer, because you still have to group up to pick them up. That might work. You still have to build that into any stage. But yeah, I mean, it's not the craziest idea. Like, some shooters have health packs you have to pick up, like Overwatch does. They're just set health pack positions. There being set cooler positions wouldn't exactly be that different. I mean, there probably wouldn't even be a delay. It's just you swim by it and you get a cooler. They could be like little vending machines. That would be what I'd go with, vending machines. Blended. Like, vending machines would blend in so well to the stages, right? You could very easily replace part of the wall with a little vending machine. And it would look totally normal. Blend in, glow when active. If in your team's color. Glows half in each color if both active. Can maintain the same jingle sound. Alright. I think we might have a concept that works. I think we have our first working concept, guys. We got one. All right. Let's go over the full idea. Let's take a step back. Tacticooler is now a separate gauge filled by painting like normal, but every player on the team contributes to it. When charged, you'll hear the Tacticooler jingle sound effect, and set locations will be active, allowing you to go grab a cooler. They will be active for about 10 seconds, the buffs can last like normal, and then after 10 seconds the gauge resets, and you gotta fill it up all over again. It can look the exact same as like a meter drain, right? Like when missiles are cooler drains normally, and you're set. The players don't have to input anything at all. All you have to do is go to the glowing stands to pick up a drink. That's it. Would each team have shared cooler spots? Yeah, because the maps are mirrored. You could just have both be active by each team. I don't think that'd be a problem to implement visually. But that works. Could you see the enemy team's meter? Could. I don't think that decision's super relevant, though. I mean, we can't see them right now. How much paint would it cost? That's the great part. You could customize it. They could change it over time. Cooler output too frequent? Lower the cost. Instead of 600, it costs 650 now. Easy. We're gonna judge a map not only on its layout, but its cooler spots? Yeah, that would play a factor. But, like, oh well. If anything, you could kind of, like, make the map design more interesting based around that. Maybe have a gear ability for the cooler lasting longer? I like that. Add a gear ability that makes cooler last longer. That's cool. I'm down for that. Now we're adding on to the mechanic. That's interesting. This may have to be a very different video if it's around one idea, but I think this works. I do think it works. We might have made a concept chat. Congratulations. We've done a thing. I'm afraid I'm gonna get sniped by an E-liter every time I go to a specific cooler spot, but that's okay. Yeah, it should be like that. There should be risk. Yeah, I read up on a few of these. I can only choose a few to go over in terms of the blue sky stuff. All right, I think we've done it. I think I can move forward making this video. Congratulations, chat. We have done it. Thank you for the help. We now have a working cooler effect. You could spend time talking about why the other ideas failed. Sure, I'll write that in there. Maybe talk about what ideas failed and why. Nah, I don't think it should be destroyable. Yeah, it only took 40 minutes. This was pretty short. Alright. Well, we did it. Was there a fifth? 3 and 5 got combined together. 2 and 4 kind of got combined, and 1 was a separate thing. Alright. Oh, Clarinet Duck, thank you for the raid, but we are wrapping up here. Alright. I think that's it. So, thanks for watching, chat. I appreciate it. I think I'm gonna send y'all elsewhere now.